Yvon Chouinard of Patagonia, retired founder, is a classic example of a legacy builder. I mean, he's for years shown his commitment to making a lasting impact on the world. For folks like him and others, these true legacy builders, what are the key attributes that they share?
Whether you look at Yvon or any of the leaders that we write about over the course of our learning and writing and publishing, there seem to be five traits that define those who are building modern legacy, the ones that endure. And the five traits go like this. They take leadership personally, they behave their beliefs, they let outsiders in, they invent their own game, and they make legacy every day. So when I talk about taking leadership personally, I think the old adage goes something like this. There is what happens in our personal life, and there is what happens in work. And those two things shouldn't meet. If you have a hobby, a passion, or something you love, explore that beyond the walls of work. Business is for business, and everything else beyond that is for your personal life. But in actuality, leaders and founders like Yvon, the ones who are building businesses that endure, seem to take their business very personally. They either start with a problem that they want to solve that they care about tremendously, and or they want to advance a belief that they care about passionately. So they don't separate work and personal, they combine the two. Separately, I mentioned the idea of behaving your beliefs. And what that means is you don't just write taglines and slogans and manifestos and create credo cards and give people t-shirts and mugs that say the right things, but that actually through good times and bad, particularly bad, these become not just words written down on a piece of paper, but words to live by. And I think that's when leaders and organizations tend to really show their value and worth. Their durability is, how do they respond through the most turbulent times? Do they do the things that they say they're going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I talked about behaving your beliefs, and I just shared the example. Then I want to move on to letting outsiders in. And letting outsiders in means you don't just sell at consumers, but you collaborate with them, you create with them, and you co-create with them. You treat them like stakeholders and shareholders. You treat them like they matter, because when they consume your products and services and experiences, they're the ones who take those stories and carry them forward. So they shouldn't be treated as outsiders that simply receive what we sell to them, but as I shared, collaborators, co-creators, people who are invested in the work that we're doing, that they, in a sense, have a belief in what we care about as brand makers, as much as us.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth aspect that I talked about was inventing your own game. Fundamentally, I think the way I would look at that is, we used to just think we should be the best at what we do. If we're incrementally better than the nearest competitor, we will win in our categories. But in fact, the ones who build things that are enduring don't just endeavor to be the best at what they do. They never endeavor to be the only ones who do it. They look to culture, not just their category, for inspiration. And if you ask why, the reason is quite simple, which is when we're fundamentally the same or similar, just incrementally better than the brands to the left or right, we become fundamentally substitutable and switchable at the lowest price possible.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're the only ones doing it, you more likely become irreplaceable and worth it, maybe not at every price, but worth it certainly at higher prices. And then finally, I talked about making legacy every day. And I think the way I'd like to describe this one would go something like this. There are plenty of brands who at one point in their life did something noteworthy, remarkable, and interesting, and they live off that story forever, even when they're no longer behaving in the spirit in which they were created. Meanwhile, the ones who endure find ways to not just read from the pages of history, but write new pages of history every day. So they don't look at their history as a compass that holds them back, or they look at it as not an anchor that holds them back, rather, but as a compass that points them forward in perpetuity.
Mm-hmm.